a deal came to me, a radio station in Colorado.
Yep. So you're in the Lakers. You finished your second year.
Mm-hmm. My major was telecommunications.
Got it.
So I already knew the radio because I was a DJ in college. That's how I made my hustle.
Oh, really? While you played ball, your job in Michigan State was a DJ to parties?
Oh, yeah. All the clubs.
Everything.
Everything. EJ to DJ.
That's still me.
Oh, man, I was turning them out, baby. I was turning them out.
Your parties on full?
Ooh, a line outside the door to get
Had it rocking?
Come see your boy. I had a room, a dude right next to me in the dorm was from Rochester, New York. His dad and a brother. His dad owned a radio station in Rochester. I walked into his room. He had all the turntables set up.
Oh.
So he was practicing, so when he went home...
he could work on the station.
Exactly. So I said, man, teach me how to spin and how to bring the song in and all that. Man, I used to sit in there for hours, man, just practicing. And when I got it down, Bonnie and Clyde's, all the clubs in Lansing, I went.
You played them.
Appeared.
EJ to DJ.
EJ to
That's
DJ.
Amazing.
Boy, I had so much fun.
So you knew that. That's amazing. So by the time you get to the Lakers, a radio station called come with a deal. You had already been in that world.
Exactly. So Dr. Red, African-American professor at Michigan State, head of telecommunications at Michigan State at that time, I got a call from this guy that said, hey, Irvin, if you buy the radio station at that time as an African-American, you could get it cheaper.
Got it.
So I said, cool. So we went, vetted the deal. I took Dr. Red, I called him up, took him with me.
Smart. See, that's a smart thing that young athletes don't always do.
Exactly.
You knew a mentor, you knew a guy who knows this. You're not going to be Mr. Smarty Pants.
No.
I'm going to get somebody who really knows this.
Exactly.
And come with me.
Come with me. You know the business. So he made a great deal for us. Bought the radio station. It takes you 2 years. We wanted to go from an AM to the FM because they're more valuable. Go for more money. We did that, converted it over to an FM, sold it, made, $2-3 million profit. I was good.
And that's when you flip for you like, oh, I get it now.
I get it now, right? Said, okay, this is what I want to do. Besides just being a basketball player, I want to be a businessman too.
Yeah.
And especially that first deal is if it's sweet like that,
oh, it's the best.
Then you just go from there. Yeah.
You go from there.
Exactly.
And you grew up in Lansing, then went to college in Lansing.
Yeah.
And then they dropped you in Hollywood. They dropped you in LA. What was that like? I mean, because you had spent basically your first, 19, 20 years of your life in, as
home.
you said, a little small city in Lansing. You went to visit some places, probably play ball, but you had never lived anywhere else. And then you were from 0 to 100 real quick.
Culture shock.
Exactly.
First of all, I was so scared, man, of the city that my first year, I actually stayed in my apartment the whole time.
Did you really?
And it was just a whole difference, this big, big city. And I said, you know what? Let me do the first thing I need to do, which was become a great basketball player.
Smart.
And, God bless us with the fact that we won that first year. But I tell you what I did, and it made a lot of athletes upset and a lot of my teammates upset. It was an unwritten rule at that time, you don't befriend the owner.
Of course.
So
because it was like players versus organization.
That's right. That's right. So here I am, 19 years old, all the way from Lansing, Michigan. Dr. Buss saw that I was this. They would all ask me, "What you gonna do?" I said, "I'm going to the apartment. I don't know how to get around LA. I'm scared to death." So he said, "Won't you start? Well, go to dinner. Let's start going to lunch. I'll take you to lunch every day." I said, "Cool." So I start going to lunch and dinner with him. Meet me here, or I'll come pick you up, and we befriended each other. So he used to ask me, "What do you want to do after basketball?" I said,
That early?
That early. I said, "I want to become a businessman." And so he didn't really say nothing. He just took a mental note of it. when I got hurt the next year, he said, this is a good time for you to really start reading up, getting prepared. So I'm going to take you through the books. I'm going to explain the Laker business to you, the real business.
Wow.
Yeah. Took me through what season ticket holders mean, what sponsorships mean, what the radio contract mean, what the TV contract means. I'm sitting up there, wow. So he just became a father figure and a mentor all at the same time.
And it's amazing also that Dr. Buss did that, because I'm talking about 1979, for owner to take players in and kind of help. Was that natural back then? Were there other owners around the league who did that you knew of?
No, it was against the owner's rules
and the players'
rules.
Exactly.
So we both
were breaking rules. Both crossing barriers.
Exactly. And you have to remember, he was a game changer anyway. The Laker girls, first dancing team, right? So he wanted to be the first. He wanted to be a pioneer. And
Forum Club.
Forum Club. His thought process, he was a visionary. He was way out front. Mm-hmm. And he didn't care what people said. And this is the one thing I want people to realize about Dr. Buss. He didn't see color.
That's awesome.
See, he didn't see color.
He didn't care.
If you can get the job done,
he with you.
You good.
How did you deal with your teammates in the locker room who saw this as like, what are you doing? You crossing the line. How did you deal with that?
Maverick, that was difficult because they didn't like it. And I had to explain to them, I don't care what you guys think. I'm going to hang with Dr. Buss. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not saying what happens in the locker room or what happens on the bus or the plane. We're talking business. Yep. I'm getting ready for my life after basketball. And I'll tell you another thing that happened. I would be on the bus saying, I'm going to be a businessman after I'm done. And the guys will laugh, like, you're not going to be no businessman. And now they see me and said, man, Irvin, all the things you talked about was right. Everything you said, you're doing it right now.
Of course. Yeah.
And I owe a lot of it to Dr. Buss first, Peter Gruber second.
Yep.
And then the third guy would be Michael Ovitz.
Yep.
Because he was the biggest Hollywood agent at that time.
Yep.
And so I went to see Michael. This is good for all athletes. So I'm sitting there, a lot of actors and producers, and everybody coming in and out. And I'm like, man, look at all these guys, people I know. Wow. So I'm sitting there, 1 hour, then it's 2 hours, then it's about 2.5 hours, and then finally they come get me. I sit down like we're sitting here. He says, why should I represent you? All you athletes, all you do is spend more money than you make, and you go broke. And I was like, wow. He said, well, let me think about it. Nice to meet you. We were in there all of 5 minutes.
Wow.
And he did all the talking. And I said, man, did we have a meeting? So, man, I went in 6'9". I think I came out about 5'9". I said, what just happened? So I get on the phone. I said, I don't think he liked me. So a week later, he calls me back. He said, I've done my homework on you. And everybody I talked to said, you've been saying you want to be a businessman since you've been in Los Angeles. He said, I want you to come back in and meet me.
Wow.
I said, okay. So I came back to see him. He said, all right, what's the first part of the paper you read? I said, of course, the sports page. Wrong answer. You want to be a businessman, you got to read the business section. So this is what I want you to do. Here's 10 magazines. He gave me the Wall Street Journal, all these different papers and magazines. You read them all. I'm going to call you and quiz you if you read every article. And if you've done that, then I'm going to take you on.
Wow.
So, man, I left out of there and I read them all.
Everything.
Everything in a day. Because I was serious, right?
Yeah.
He called me back, answered all his questions. He took me on. And, man, he did a Pepsi deal for me that was unbelievable. Didn't take no money.
Wow. He just helped, just showing you the way.
Exactly.
Talked about earlier being on the bus with teammates and having the conversation of your aspirations. And when I first started in the sports business with LeBron, we had aspirations. And we had opposition, other players, other guys looking at us going, why aren't you guys doing this? And I remember I would come in the game with a suit on because I wanted to be taken serious.
Right.
I always told people I wanted to be taken serious long after LeBron was done playing.
Exactly.
I wanted to be my own person if I needed a job because, hell, who knows what LeBron wants to do when he's retired. And facing that opposition, it is gratifying later when some of those people come up to me and say, you know what, you were right. How was that one of the more gratifying things that you had when some of those teammates and other players come to you then and said, if we should have actually been on your path?
Yeah, it was. And also, too, I'm glad that I didn't listen to anybody.
Yep.
And the same for you and LeBron and Rich, of course. All you guys are doing your thing. And see, if you had to listen to them, you wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Exactly.
Right? You wouldn't own this company. So I love the fact that you're sitting here because we were on similar paths, right?
Yeah.
We had to change athletes' mindset that, we can excel on the court and on the field, but also we can excel
and be more
as a CEO or in the business room. So we busted those doors open, right? And so a lot of times what happens as athletes or as minorities, we hurt ourselves because we think we can't achieve that.
Exactly. It's not for us.
It's not for us. It's out of our reach.
Yep.
Or we don't want to go through what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And I was a dude to say, show me the way.
You'll read whatever, I'll work.
Just show me. All I need is the roadmap.
Yep.
Then the greatest moment came when I really had to say, this is what really stamped me as a serious businessman, the deal with Starbucks.
Yeah, of course.
Because that deal changed everything. Before I was doing deals, but this one was it's all over the country.
Yep.
We built 125 stores.
Wow.
We made that deal happen, and that's what really put me on a path of success. And I'm talking big business.
Yep, of course.
Right? It showed everybody that I could drive ROI in urban America. When you think about African Americans now, over $1 trillion spending power, Latinos over $1 trillion spending power, and moving even higher. There was nobody really building businesses and
nobody harnessing it,
going after their disposable income.
Yep.
Right, and
also bringing things to them that they wanted and needed, and jobs.
That's right, jobs. So my company was able to provide jobs, access, like you just said, to these retailers who were not coming in before, but now they hit a home run when we partnered and they came into the inner city.
And going back to basketball for a second, when I was a kid, I really rooted for the Lakers. And I rooted for the Lakers very simply because the Lakers felt like the black team. It was showtime. It was fun. Their best players, he had a nickname, like guys in my neighborhood had a nickname like Magic. So he felt like he was from my hood.
Exactly.
And Boston felt like the white team. It was Boston, the style they played, McHale, and their best player was this blonde hair, kind of tall white guy. But at that time, you were obviously, Dr. Jerry Buss had taught you the business of sports, you said earlier. Did you really understand that the story of the Lakers and Celtics, Magic and Bird, it was actually better. You couldn't write a better story to make basketball, the marketing of the game, as big as it did. Did you realize what was going on? Were you just like, I'm trying to beat the Celtics and win the championship? Or were you like, this is really cool. That I understand that it's really storytelling.
Yeah. It in the beginning, you didn't know. But as you got older and start playing them, 84 we started. Then we played them again in 85. We knew that the country was divided.
you knew it was a little black boy in Akron rooting for the Lakers.
All the blacks for the Lakers, all the whites for the Celtics. And it was cool, And the thing about it was basketball in the NBA was better because Larry Bird ended up in Boston.
100%. I always want to ask you that. Do you think you and Bird were the two best players in the league? If Larry played for Minnesota and you played for Seattle, and y'all, it
wouldn't have been the same.
It wouldn't have,
No.
Y'all still would have been fighting for championships, but it wouldn't have been the same, right?
No, it was perfect. And David Stern did his thing, the commissioner at the time. So we gotta give him credit. And so that's what it's all about. You have to have rivalries and you have to have superstars
to tell the story.
And
to talk about that also, obviously, Dr. Buss gave you a 25-year, $25 million deal at the time, the biggest deal we had ever seen. What were you thinking when you did that deal? And what did the first check when you got it? What did you do with it? What did you think about it?
Man, it brings back chills even thinking about it. Man, he put that check in my hand and my hand just kept shaking. And I kept looking and I said, all them zeros? And really, Dr. Buss? Really? I said, really? Really? I'm sitting there like, I cannot believe, I'll never catch, I gotta have, so I can put it, so I got one at my mom's house right now, $1 million. I just was blown away. And what was crazy is, he said, Irvin, I'm gonna make you the highest paid ever. I'm gonna give you $25 million for 25 years. Now, this is my second year. I said, what? Oh, okay, I'll take it. Of course, let's go. It was just him and I. I said, I'll take it. So he said, okay, well, I'll call your representative. We work out the deals. I just wanted to come to you. I didn't want to call them. I wanted to come to you. And so that's how our relationship was. It was amazing that, again, thinking outside the box, didn't care what nobody thought, because all the owners was upset at him for giving me that deal.
I'm sure, because it raised the market.
That's right. And then my players, they were upset too.
They were upset with your relationship.
Yeah.
And then it comes 91, you obviously retire. You announce you have HIV.
Yep.
How did that affect you as a businessman? Did it have an effect on endorsements or investments or business?
It did have an effect. The companies that were sponsoring me at that time, I had a lot of sponsors, they all dropped me.
Really? Mm-hmm. Right away?
Right away. So now I said, okay, what are you going to do, Irvin? And so before, for the first, I would say 6 months, I was really upset. I was frustrated. I was saying, man, how did this happen to me, right? My wife came home one day and she changed my life. She said, you was talked about being a businessman. So it's time for you to start thinking about getting into business. So get out the house and don't come back until you become the man that I married.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. So I went and drove for 2 or 3 hours. And sure enough, man, I started moving, start calling people. And that's when I just started exploding, man. My business career just really jump-started. And the one thing that really helped it jumpstart too was I tried to be a TV talk show host.
The Magic Hour.
Yes. And I failed.
How long did that last?
Shoot, less than a year, brother.
And was you doing it because you really wanted to be a talk show host, or what made you do the Magic Hour?
I think both. I wanted to see how it was and also put me back in the mainstream.
Yeah, give you a platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was terrible.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to take self-evaluation of yourself. And I said, man, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But it did help me too at the same time. I had a speech coach who really helped me to pronunciate words better for the show.
Yeah.
But now it's carried on in my life.
In life, exactly.
See, so some things I might have failed at being a talk show host, but it helped me in everyday life.
Got it.
At the same time. So I gained something from it.
Yep.
And then I'm glad it happened because that's when Starbucks, everything came right after that.
Right after that.
So it was great.
And did you see yourself failing, or did somebody come to you and say, Maddie, this ain't working?
No, I knew.
You knew?
I knew.
You were being real with yourself.
Exactly. I'm not that guy who sit there and say, oh, I'm great at something, and I know I'm not.
Gotcha.
I'm the guy who say, oh, man, I stink. Now, I know that. I know I can't do that, so let's move on to something else.
Let's move on.
Yeah, so I got fired on Friday. I was back in my office on Monday. making
Back to
things
work.
happen. Back to work. Hey, I gave myself one day on Saturday to cry. Went to church on Sunday.
Pick it
back
up.
to work
Let's go
on
back
Monday.
to work.
Let's go
That's
make
awesome.
it happen.
And then in '94, you became an owner of the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Was that always an aspiration and a dream to own a piece of a club?
No question about it. Because Maverick, remember, then there was no minorities and no
Zero.
schools.
Yeah, you were the first. There was
Yeah,
none.
so,
it wasn't even a thought that
no,
a player.
no.
When you did it, the fact that a player could become an owner was like, that doesn't even, to your point earlier, that doesn't even make sense.
That don't make sense. I went to him, Dr. Buss again. He said, Irvin, I would do it, but you're going to have to pay for it. I said, no. Just tell me I saved all my money. So I'm good. So I got to tell you this quick story that a lot of people don't even know. Matter of fact, this will be the first time I tell it. So Dr. Buss loved Vegas. So we used to go to Vegas all the time in the off season. I mean, like once a week.
Got it.
So we fly in, and he used to get his own table. So he would say, come sit with me. I said, no. I said, I'm not going to sit next to you. I'm going to sit behind you. I'm going to be the most expensive cheerleader you've ever had. So he said, no, I got all this money. You come and play. I said, no. So he said, no, take the chips. I said, okay, cool. So I take the chips, put them in my pocket. So I'm sitting there, he playing, and man, he was an unbelievable gambler. He did very well. So this is Friday. So we go back on Saturday. He said, come on and play. I said, no. So he gave me all these chips. I put them in my pocket. So we play again all Saturday night. Sunday come, come play. All these chips. So by the time we leave on Monday, shoot, I got me about 20,000, 25,000 in my pocket.
The chips you just been stacking.
I was stacking. So he was dying. He was dying. I went to the hospital. Jeannie called me, said he wants to say goodbye to you. So I went there. He said, you know what impressed me about you? Now he's laying in the bed. He said, we used to go gambling. And I thought I was doing something, giving you some money. And I look up and you put it all in your pocket.
You just stacked it all.
I said, Dr. Buss, I grew up poor.
I hold on to mine.
Hold on to mine. I am not no gambler. But he fell out laughing. Even in his bed, he said, that's why I loved you. And I knew you were going to be successful.
That's amazing.
He said, I knew you were going to be successful. That's why also I led you into the Lakers. You were always an outstanding young man.
Yep.
When I told you to be there at 4 o'clock, you was there at 3 o'clock. When I told you you had to meet the bankers and come say hi, take pictures, you were there doing that. Everything I asked you to do, you was there. That's why I let you in, and you could write a check.
You were ready to do it.
So I was ready to do it because at that time, it was a $10 million check.
Exactly, which is a
Cash
huge
money.
check.
Yeah,
and
man.
people don't understand that part. That's a big part about business, being prepared when the opportunity shows
That's
itself.
right. That's
you were
right.
ready to write that check. Just think
Ready.
that opportunity come and you don't get the check. That's a great opportunity that passed you by.
Passed by and wouldn't have opened the door for other minorities, for Mike,
the ownership.
or all these other guys to come in
Yep.
and get to be an owner. So for me, it was great. And that's another lesson for all these people. Save your money.
Yep.
Don't spend more than you make, athletes and entertainers.
Yeah. And then after the Lakers, you obviously set precedent again by buying the partnership, being in partnership with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
How did you get into that, and why did you do it?
Great story, Maverick. It's funny, Maverick. It's like LA fan base wanted some local ownership. And so here I am saying, hey, I want to be one of the owners. So all these billionaires start calling me, say, I want to partner with you. So Maverick, I'm interviewing 6 billionaires to buy.
You interviewing them.
I'm interviewing them, exactly. And I'm like, wow, I've come a long way from Lansing, Michigan, singing Temptation songs on the street corner.
EJ the DJ.
EJ the DJ, spinning the records. Now I'm interviewing 6 billionaires. Oh, man, my life was so good at that time. So finally, Mark Walters came in and Guggenheim, and Mark and I hit it off. It was instant, we just connected. And I said, that's who I want to be in business with. But I said to Mark, I said, listen, I just don't want to do this deal with you. I want to do 10 deals with you. And he said, let's do it then. So we end up winning, paid a record price for the Dodgers, over $2 billion. And people were like, wow, they couldn't believe the price tag. But we knew the TV deal was coming up. And now it's $9 billion. The land that the Dodger Stadium sit on, the 300 acres, are worth over $2 billion.
Exactly.
And so it was a deal that we couldn't pass up. So this has been an amazing run, man. And I'm looking for game-changing deals. I don't want to do a regular deal. If it's a game-changer or it's somebody I say, hey, man, Mav, you and I should partner. See, somebody like yourself, then I would do it, right?
Of course.
Because you got some, I got some. That's how you explode, right? Two people with great brands and coming together to do some great things. So that's what I'm looking for. And it's so funny because you and I got a major problem. And I want to address these cameras because this is important. See, everybody get mad now when you and I say no.
Yeah.
Well, like I got to teach everybody. Okay, when I was at this level, I could deal with you. But I'm not at that level no more. See, I went here, then I went here. Now I'm here. So the deal's gotta be here.
They gotta match. Exactly.
And no, I'm not hating. Everybody don't be mad at me when I say no. But the deal's gotta be here. Because I tell you, you can learn a lot from billionaires. They said the same amount of time it takes to make $1 million is the same amount of time to make $100 million.
Of course.
I've been putting that in my mind.
Time is the key.
Time is the key.
Every deal takes time from you. It takes magic getting on the phone, calling people.
Exactly.
So it might as well be a deal that's going to make you $100 million, not $1 million.
Ooh, we just taught you guys something.
Last question before I let you go. Now, this is unbelievable when I think about you. You are arguably the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. All the accomplishments, 5 championships, finals MVPs, all of that. And there's a chance you get remembered more as a businessman or as much as a basketball player because there's a whole generation of young African Americans who look up to Magic Johnson and never seen you make a no-look pass. They never even seen you drop it off to Kareem or hit the baby hook. They don't even know that. They've maybe seen a highlight of it. They have no idea, but they look up to you as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
At the end of the day, what do you want Earvin Magic Johnson to be known as? The greatest basketball player or an incredible businessman? Which one would you want to be known for?
I think the businessman and all the kids we've sent to college through the Magic Johnson Foundation, the technology centers that we built around the country through the Magic Johnson Foundation. Those are the things that I want to be remembered by. The kids sending to college, the businesses, and the job opportunity for our people and for my people, right? And for Latinos as well. So that's very, very important because that's the real legacy, right? There's always going to be great basketball players, right? I want to be known for the guy who created jobs for those who live in urban America. That's what I want to be known for. And so God is good, man. I'm glad we sat down because
I'm glad we did this too.
This is different